Alright, this is Travis Wayne Goodsell. Was able to run this morning after the cyclone bomb we had on Wednesday. The temperatures are warm enough so that snow doesn't last long. Friday lasted 2 days, I guess. And the project I'm working on was too loud, so I paused it while I do this video. Update for you on my life saga into the investigation of the corruption against me. We had gotten this notification yesterday. If you remember yesterday, there's a door knocking that I was like, hey, I thought I got rid of them. And sure enough, I thought they were coming back, but yes, they are. But it's not what I thought. Apparently, Percy Pearson is announcing himself to us and announcing this place as independent living. So there's more to this story, but I want to give you background history first. 2008, Mark Shortliff arrested me for wanting my kids back. You know, the whole First Amendment thing, petitioning for redress of grievances. It's illegal to exercise your constitutional rights in Utah. Period. It just is. They don't give a damn about the Constitution. Period. You know, just this morning, cops patrolling without a warrant, you know, go to your station, officers. Stay off our streets. We'll call you if we need you. You know, like we call the fire department, like we call the EMTs. No, we need to protect you. Pfft, whatever. You need to control us and control our behavior. And that's what Shurtleff did back in 2008. He was trying to control my behavior in retaliation for my wanting my kids back, my constitutional rights. And so I was tortured for 6 years, incarcerated. No trial. They don't do trials here in Utah. You know, you get arrested, you plead guilty, or your life is ruined, and they make sure of it. And because statute of limitations, it's up after 6 years. The cough I have is a natural cough from allergies. I suspect it's probably from Clarence down the apartment, because I'm that sensitive to cats. So yeah, that's the one thing I was worried about when I first moved here. But I was still on Abilify, the forced drug. I can't call it a med. It's not a med. and that also almost killed me. But with the drug, it apparently loosened up the air passage so that I could breathe. But now it's closing up on me again. And I'm having trouble breathing again, having been off of it for several years now. But when I got out, which was a miracle because there were 3 people that retired or moved on, and the new people were not properly informed about me. They sort of locked me away and forgot about me purposely. And so the new girl said, yeah, you're fully competent to stand trial. And that shocked everybody, you know, and because she was the new girl, they got another guy to evaluate me. And he had no choice but to agree with her, because if he goes against her, then he ruins her career, because she's brand new on the job. Fresh out of school. And so it's not going to be good for her career if she's found to be incompetent in her job. So he had to let me go too. And that was not what Shurtleff wanted, but Shurtleff was out of office and was going through his own legal troubles. If you're unfamiliar with the corruption charges that he was accused of, but the FBI and the actual witness, who was also part of the crime, they all covered it up for him, and so the other guy getting off allowed Shurtleff to walk free too, because they had no case as a result. But yeah, for me, 6 years. Oops, statute of limitations ran out, Travis. Sorry. So yeah, I've got a permanent record, and I'll get to that in a second here. But when I was going to North Valley, I had to. They forced me into it, and I was staying at Valley Plaza downtown, which is for severe mental illnesses. And so if you're not familiar with my other videos talking about it, they purposely diagnosed me with an old Russian diagnosis that has been internationally banned because Russia was using the diagnosis to lock away for life their political opponents and anybody who was rebellious against the country, and would then justify drugging them to destroy their minds and do human experimentations on them. And so yeah, the international community said, Russia, no, you can't do this anymore, you got to stop. And we're telling every psychiatrist throughout the world for all time and all eternity that nobody can be diagnosed with this. So of course Utah refused to comply and diagnosed me with it, and forced me on drugs. And I've told that story too, how they took them 3 times. I was destroying their whole intentions for me. But yeah, the therapist at North Valley, after seeing me a few times, she just said one day, "You don't have a mental illness. You don't need a therapist." Oh, okay. It's nice to know that you figured that out. And you're not just complying with everybody else who's just reading my records of previous evaluations and in total fear for their lives, that I'm this extreme mentally ill person who's dangerous. And and so that was around the time when I got my Medicaid reimbursement of $20,000 for 6 years of incarceration. And it should have been more, because they kept saying, "Oh, it's not the Russian one. He's had it the whole time. It's just he just finally got caught." But they won't put the date in the past, and they only did it from the date of the evaluation. So yeah, it was only $20,000 reimbursement. And of course, being through SSDI, Social Security Disability, I was forced to spend it down in 9 months, because you can only have a certain $2,000 in savings. If you go over that, they just take it all away. They say, "Hey, you've got plenty of money, you don't need more." They really screw over the mentally ill and the disabled, and it's like they just don't care. They don't care about human rights. And so we can't get out of our condition. We're trapped in the system, trapped as being poor forever, and they don't care. And with the mentally ill aren't supposed to be cognizant of this condition, that they have rights and that they're not supposed to be treated like this. But yeah, real people with mental illnesses are not able to know that they're being victimized, which is why it's necessary to have honest and good people caring for them, not the government agency who's trying to purposely cover things up. And so, because of the money and because I no longer was found mentally ill, I was really hoping it was because she was hot for me and wanted to date me after a year of being away from me, because that's the policy. Or maybe the worker policy. Maybe as a therapist she can never date me. But regardless, one can only hope. But nah. I'm sure she's gone off and married some rich guy and now has, let's see, 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. She's on her 5th kid now. Because, you know, that's what women do, right? They have lots of babies. They don't wait till they're old and can only have a token kid. And so anyway, I started looking for apartments with my $20,000, and I had to be forced on a payee, and so I had to get permission from them. But I learned very quickly it's oh, whoops, I did this. Sorry, I didn't notify you ahead of time. Can you send me a check? Or can I come in and you pay for it? and so I went looking for apartments, found one. Took the tour of the apartment, but then she says, okay, now all you have to do is be the first one to the office with 2 money orders for the deposit and the first month's rent. And it's got to be money orders. And I went, wish I would have known that ahead of time. And so I'm rushing home to get on my phone, contact GCS, and they said, tomorrow morning before noon, see if we can get it done for you. So I rushed to their place the next morning, picked it up, rushed all the way downtown to their office location on State Street, and just missed it. A couple had beaten me to the apartment and were putting the down payment at the desk, and I just And so going back to Valley Plaza in defeat, my caseworker knew that I was looking, and that I had failed to get it because of the timing, and so yeah, they made sure to keep me in the system, and that's why I'm here, because this place was independent living. That's what it says on the website. That's what it was intended. And the case manager that was here, he never stopped by. You know, he was cool, but he stayed away, let us do things. Only came out if he needed to, or if somebody needed a ride or whatever. And independent living. So great. Okay. And I won't get into other details about my life history here, about the church and neighborhood watch and wife and divorce, all sorts of that other stuff. But they got rid of the case manager, put in a new one, and Madison was a ball breaker. She was doing white glove inspections. White glove inspections for people who have mental illnesses. Are you kidding me? And so everybody was pissed. In both this apartment and the other one especially. And all the complaints went up to Maria's ears, the case manager, and so she had to pull the leash on Madison. And And so, yeah, finally she went away until we needed her and called for her. And then landlord, Emily, she told Karen and I that there's nothing they can do to you now. You're here. If you go off your treatment, if you get out of Valley system, you can stay here. There's nothing they can do. And as long as you have your disability or Social Security, you still get the HUD discount. And you know, if you go off Social Security or stop your SSDI, then yeah, you'll have to pay the full amount of $1,000 a month. We make less than that on SSI and SSDI. We make less than the amount of rent that it costs to live here as a normal person. That's how much we're being oppressed. and I was going, oh, okay, so I can stop. I had already had a kidney infection. Rushed to the emergency room. I almost died. I have that video where I'm lying in the hospital bed, where the nurse is calling me hot in front of my wife. And Karen even recognized, hey, she thinks you're hot. Because it was kind of an irony, because my temperature was hot, but she was giving looks and emphasizing hot. Oh, the sexual repression here in Utah. And so, because I almost died, I realized, hey, this drug is killing me. It wasn't affecting my brain like the other two drugs that they had experimented with. Invega was the first one that the doctor put me on, and that gave all sorts of symptoms. And of course, once you get symptoms, you'll notice on the commercials, they have symptom relief for those symptoms caused by other drugs. And so you get more drugs for drugs that you're on to handle the symptoms, which is really all you need to do is stop taking the drug in the first place and your symptoms are gone. Magical. But yeah, the pharmaceutical companies are a big scam. Not just for overpricing, not just for the opioids, everything. They're purposely killing off the mentally ill with the drugs. It causes damage and thus shortens the lifespan of those who are mentally ill. Huge scandal here. And by keeping us suppressed and poor, that's human trafficking. They're profiting off of us, keeping us poor. That's human trafficking, not sex trafficking, the labor part. They're taking advantage of the government money. And I can't get that through to anybody's head. Crime is not a crime, Travis. Oh, yeah, I heard Giuliani say that too about Trump. And so then Madison and Maria just stopped communicating with me when I'd call them about Karen going off her meds, because she's been on them since 17, and she goes through horrible withdrawal symptoms. And the only way to detox her would be to lock her in a padded room for months. And then you can see if she really has a mental illness. But the damage most likely has already been done. And I recognized that there were certain things going on mentally that were not consistent with her new diagnosis that she had gotten since her childhood years. And so, yeah, that concerned me greatly. Yeah, they don't care. So you can't diagnose a person when they're on drugs. and say that, oh, okay, we're changing your diagnosis now that you're on drugs. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work to diagnose them because they go off their drugs and go through withdrawal symptoms. They're calling her bipolar now because she's normal on drugs, she's wild and dangerous during the withdrawal symptoms when she's off the drugs. That's how they've diagnosed her. And that's wrong. That's not her problem. And so they're putting the wrong drugs in her because they're not finding out the actual cause. So, yeah, I'm greatly concerned. But now they've gotten rid of her because she was a witness to the crimes against me with the new people that replaced Madison and Maria. And Beth came in, and also Emily was replaced. And so I emailed the new landlord and said, hey, I've got these issues with my apartment and such. She forwards it to Beth. And Beth then comes over for a friendly visit and threatens me with an ultimatum. Get back on treatment or you have to leave this apartment. No, I don't. You're threatening me. No, I'm not. Crime is not a crime. And so I complained everywhere I could. Adult Protective Services, HUD, the police, everywhere. I know the mayor personally, Ron Bigelow. So I contacted him too. And months later, cops arrive and then they threaten me. What? What are you guys doing? And so they got it on camera. And so, Internal Affairs, your officers just threatened me. They have it on recording. Please check the video. I don't hear anything from them. I'm still getting attacked by Beth, who thinks that, nobody's stopping her, so then she must have the right to continue to harass and threaten me. That's the logic that people have here in Utah. And so I keep calling the authorities and everywhere I can, and finally, after several follow-ups with the internal revenues or the internal affairs with West Valley, it just stops. Nobody comes around anymore. And other tenants are noticing this, and they go, yeah, because of me. But then I did that video the other day. Was it earlier this week or was it Friday of last week? I think it was Friday of last week. Some guy was in the office. I didn't recognize the voice, but I recognized the car, so I thought that's strange. Why would Beth's car be here with the guy's voice? They replaced her. That's what they're doing. They're making changes, hoping to silence me. And so this Percy Pearson is saying, I am a case manager with independent living. And I'll be your new case manager for Oak Ridge rather than Ochre Ridge. So that's not good news. He doesn't even know the name of the apartment building. And I am excited for this opportunity to know each of you individually and as a group. This is independent. I don't want anything to do with you. Stay away from me. We will be having resident council on next week. Please be on time. This will be my opportunity to meet you and for you to meet me. Please come and join me for some refreshments. Oh, he's bribing us. Yay. And come with questions. And I promise I will come with answers and my own questions. Just stay away. This is independent living. And so, yeah, I'm now concerned that he's going to come in, he's going to give us these booklets of rules for independent living, and we're supposed to sign them as a contract. And, God. So, yeah, yippee-ki-yay. However, I searched for him on the internet. According to the witness accounts of other tenants, because I didn't answer the door when he came a-knocking, if you saw that video. He's got a 1.09 rating on the internet. He's bad. Now, granted, they won't tell you why. They just say he has a criminal record and he's got lawsuits against him. And he may have sexual offenses and other horrible things, but you have to click on this link and then pay us money, and then we'll let you see the rest of the details. So all they're showing us is what's publicly available. And so what's publicly available for me is I'm poor. 2.10. For the reason I just told you. I was arrested and denied being able to expunge my record because the statute of limitations ran out. And there's still no guarantee that the judge would even allow it, because the prosecution may decide to say, you know what, Travis, you're pissing us off. We let you go free and not press charges after 6 years of incarceration without a trial. So we're going to tell the judge to deny you the expungement. So, yeah, but I was told by the lawyer, no, statute of limitations ran out. Sorry, it would cost you $2,000 anyway. Oh, yeah, I'll just whip that out of my pocket here, and there you go. And that's just well, yeah, that's for expungement. If I wanted him as a lawyer to take the case to trial, or to court, that would be an initial fee. Then thered be more attached as he works on it for years, rather than the speedy trial that is required by the Constitution. You know, he's got to make a living, he's got family to feed, kids to sneak into colleges and universities throughout this nation. So yeah, I understand why I'm poor on the rating scale. You can go to mugshots.com to see that reason. But for him to not just be poor, you know, which I could have said, oh, okay, he's poor like me, which means he's probably been falsely accused himself. After all, he's African American in the public record, and according to eyewitness statements of the tenants here. And so, yeah, I can understand being in Utah as a black person that you're getting oppressed, suppressed, repressed, discriminated and attacked and victimized and hate crimes and all sorts of things. But his is bad, not just poor, as I was for being considered a terrorist and locked away with Brian David Mitchell and Curtis Allgaier, the cop killer. So yeah, I did that video too. I have us all lined up, a class reunion in the thumbnail picture. So yeah, that's our new case manager for independent living. And it's like they don't want to give us our rights. They don't want us to go back into the community, because independent living is supposed to be so that you transition into the community. But like I said, we're making less than the amount of the rent that we're supposed to pay if we weren't getting the money. They don't want us out. That's the human trafficking part. And so when North Valley is trying to make this assisted living, as they've been doing, because I went off my meds, I no longer had therapy, and it was Madison who forced me back into therapy. I was told I wasn't mentally ill. Oh, we'll just give you a therapist, and so yeah, when both the therapist and the person signing me the drug, both, you know, went on to different jobs at the same time. Ah, a sign from God. Out I go. And so yeah, they're not gonna kill me. So yeah, that's part of what I was using, was they're trying to kill me by putting me back in treatment, because they are. The drug was killing me. I almost died. My brain almost fried. You know, this is your brain on drugs? They're not kidding. So there's my thumbnail, and I'll see if I can find the commercial link. I have to write it down because otherwise I'll forget. Brain on drugs. Alright, so there you go. There's the update of my life. And I've got other ideas, but I don't know what I'll do today, if I get to them or not. I was wanting to do something cool about summation of the church, but smelling gas. Alright, well, anyway. Wouldn't that be great? Kaboom! If Travis won't comply, we'll kill him off. That's what I have been saying the whole time, is that if Shirtliff wanted me out of the picture, he needed to kill me. Because just locking me away is not going to silence me. As all of you know from watching all my videos. The church ain't going to silence me. Utah won't silence me. Shirtliff won't silence me. And Shirtliff is Mormon. He was under orders of the church to do this. So yes, it is the church trying to kill me. And why are they trying to kill me? Because they participated in the kidnapping of my children, who I wanted back. And then I also gave to them, hey, Joseph Smith was right about translating. Oops. How was I supposed to know the church had already made up their mind that Joseph Smith was not a translator, just received revelation, and would then expose them as not having the ability to translate? Oops. So that's what loyalty is rewarded with in the church, guys, is attempted murder, a hit. So, yippee-ki-yay.